And with that, we are live streaming, meeting information live. The floor is yours.
Into order.
Okay, we can do the roll call. Ruben Artegalas,
Present.
Sam Budlong,
Present.
Angel De La Fuente,
He will not be attending today,
Gisela Soberon,
so far not present.
Marcelino Sotolongo,
Present.
Brown is present.
Order of business, deferrals, additions, deletions. I'd like to make a motion if possible, we can move 7E to public comments, which is the elections. If I will wait early.
Seven, two,
Who I would assume right after 4, or right after 4.
And that follows 7A. I have 7A, B, and C.
You're looking at the previous, that's the minutes from December. So in the
back of that is
so
Thank you.
the motion is to move elections up. Every year, we have to hold elections for our 3 main positions, chair, vice chair, and secretary. This is our first meeting of the year
we just did it.
in December.
I thought we did it in the middle of the year.
Maybe,
Maybe
like, if not last meeting, the one before.
By
It's a calendar.
by committee, it's calendar year. By committee rules, it should be the first meeting of the new year.
Yeah,
we definitely did it towards the end of last year, but we may have.
So this is a new meeting.
This is technically new calendar year. This is the first meeting of fiscal year, or not, of calendar year 23.
now I know when I'm the show. I've noticed a trend now.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel.
Oh,
Sweat.
but the motion stands. It hasn't been seconded, just for the
I'll
record.
second that motion.
Do we have the ability to defer this? The rule may say it, but do we have the ability?
You
to have
can, if you feel that there are individuals that are a majority are gone, obviously majority, you have quorum, but you could hold off.
I would ask also that, can it be included in the notifications that elections will be held on such and such a date coming up? Residents interested are urged to attend, to participate and get elected if they want.
Yeah, because I know some schools are spring break. And they're not here.
Right.
So I don't know if you want.
Yeah, the only one that I know that was on a for sure absence was gonna be Angel. He told me he was out of town. He won't be back until the following week. So if so, if I'm understanding, you want to amend it, the motion to defer. And in that, send on the next mailer for the next meeting, a notice to all residents that elections for their advisory board will be held.
You got it.
Got you. All right, do I have a second for the motion, for the amendment?
Second.
All right, so on the motion, on the amended motion, as mentioned by
Damn.
Sam, all those in favor?
Hey,
Right.
Okay. Okay, so we'll hold off elections, and therefore essentially the main motion fails, but we'll go ahead and I'll put that on the next mail out for the next meeting.
Okay, so you're gonna be the one who will
Yeah.
come up with the wording. Okay, great.
Essentially, the idea is just to inform all residents that NSD Advisory Board elections for the three
Right.
3 office seats will be held at such and such date. All right.
Public comments. We have, and nobody's here.
Yeah,
Have any?
no public comments, no participants on this end.
can I make a public comment?
I mean, yeah, you can also discuss it during,
Well, like I told him before, one of my neighbors had the fountain in the middle of the lake and she moved it over to comply with our thing.
with distances.
I don't know if that means anything here, but
I mean, at this point, I'll take a look at it, if it's something you still want to look into, but I mean, if she's kind of pulled it within her rights.
Yeah.
I know this has been a discussion that's gone back and forth, and, was there anything that I might have missed from the last meeting on this, Sam?
I was not here in the last.
No, but I'm saying, if you wanna talk to Jeremy about maybe my getting, we got a real clear,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't believe the town attorney gave us.
Due diligence.
With legal advice, yes. He's, to me, it was clear that he wasn't familiar with riparian rights, which are a very arcane area of law, and I wouldn't expect him to be totally up on it. Having delved into it in the past to a significant extent, I think I was able to formulate an opinion on his legal counsel. Which
is there a way that you can follow up with that, Jeremy, at all? Like, just ask him if he has any clear, like, wording? Because there are some issues with some of those things.
Yeah, and I'll check in with him, and then I'll also ask if anyone else, if Castesi, the sitting attorney, can go ahead and give us his opinion as well after he looks into it, but on our end, that those are basically the two legal counsel we have.
understood.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Right. So, right into approval of the minutes for December 6th.
Make sure I updated that.
And to help me make sure I'm looking at the right thing.
okay, no,
This one.
this one. Oh,
So
the
that-
other
those are the
one,
minutes.
wait,
Those are the minutes that you have in.
yeah,
Those are the minutes from December.
This is the agenda.
no.
Those are that's what confused me too.
So these are the minutes, because I've embedded in the agenda,
Correct.
right? So I take the agenda and then put in the information. So that's why it looks like an agenda.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is,
Yeah,
Minutes.
then yeah, you're right. I should-
That confused me a little bit on when I saved them too.
Right, I'll do that going forward. So, I don't know, I was just gonna say that, what we had written here, that Christina was to find out the time limit for barriers from the building department, so I don't know. I guess that's something we can talk about.
That'll be when it
We
comes
can
up
talk
in.
about- Okay.
Business meeting. Motion maybe ready and Sam's still taking a look. right?
yeah, I wasn't here, so.
No, that's fine. Go take your
It is a little bit helpful for me to get up to speed.
Absolutely.
May I request copies of the test results that were provided? If it's electronic and someone wants to email
I
me.
have them. You can bring my folder, but
And.
I have access to them, so I can send it to them electronically.
That's fine. Was the fellow from the company part of that flow of information? Can you explain what those results meant in clear language? Or these results are understandable and
Based off the history, it showed if I'm not mistaken, it was a betterment in, pretty straightforward. Improvement in multiple areas. I think we had an issue prior with enterococcus. So he went through it, and the readings, the only 4 ones that I remember seeing were on the fecal coliform 4 section for plot 1 of Lake Patricia. Now, in the past, they've always gone over, I wasn't at that meeting, but in the past, they've always gone over it, and these readings obviously can always sway from one day to the next, and sway from 20 feet difference in distance.
It depends where all the ducks are.
I'll get it. Go ahead, please. And send it to me.
Yeah, I took my note here to send it to you. Do you want me, you just want the most recent test results, correct?
Whatever these.
Okay.
Whatever these were. And since the subject of that item is test results, was there any discussion for additional testing? Or is that part of our contract?
We're kind of getting into it right now, we're on the minutes, but yes, as part of the contract, biannual testing, additional testing beyond that is at a cost.
Will we be getting into the aeration proposal in tonight's meeting?
It's more of an old business, it's put back up there as new business, just so that we kept it on
Okay.
topic for this meeting.
For questions and so. No, I have to ask about 7C.
Yeah, I actually got I got responses, but no quotes yet. But we'll get to that when we get there.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Any motion to approve minutes?
Motion to approve.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Okay, the ayes have it. Next item is so we'll go through all old business. Some of these are kept up there just for some of your input, keeping us up to date with anything going on the lake. But with that, we'll go ahead and jump into A, advisory report on lake condition. Any issues, concerns, anything that we've seen lately out of the norm? I've been there. I didn't go to last week's servicing, but I was there 2 weeks before. The lake seems to be looking good. Shoreline's looking good. Vegetation is being controlled. Water quality looks good. I'll tell you one thing, oh my God, these bass,
The peacock bass,
and peacock bass are looking good. I see them all along the shoreline.
but they're taking over.
My personal comment is the photographs are not necessary. They don't, to me, add anything that I can discern of any quality issues, except if there were to be.
Algae blooms.
Algae.
Is there any other, do you want to stop doing it, continue it, even though?
I agree with Sam on some of the pictures, it's just you can't really tell. Maybe we can try and say take a picture of the shoreline, like where it's a little like clear.
You know, if there's something worth seeing.
Okay,
Yeah.
Looking at water, we don't need to do.
okay, it's beautiful mornings though.
Yeah.
They look like they should be in a real estate, sure.
Hey, it gives my job a little easier than putting together the updates.
Right.
But yeah, that's fine. What I will do is I'll leave it open for them to take pictures of anything out of the norm.
I mean, maybe one or two, just to make sure that they're taking a picture so they know they have to be.
Do they use
Yeah.
like
Because then if they don't picture.
like a waterproof camera?
No. No. This is their own cameras.
I would like to see like an underwater picture. You know, like.
I can make the request.
Like a GoPro, you know, put it on there, see what the bottom look like. Because the surface looks nice.
Lakes don't look nice
Yeah.
underwater. Lakes are all black at the bottom.
Not really, not ours.
They are. When you get out 30 feet
Yeah,
to where the slope
No,
line was dug out,
I'm looking at,
they're all
The-
black.
you know, closer to the shoreline. That's where we usually have the problems.
So like if they're standing at the shoreline, looking down, but I think once when you mentioned this, said like, of course, because it's warmer and less water, it's always gonna look worse, right?
It's a higher chance.
Then,
Yeah.
right,
Temperatures.
you know. That's really kind of where we see the most and what bothers us the most is there.
Is
That
shoreline.
is that shoreline. So I mean, maybe they could mix it up a little bit with some of that,
Okay,
even though, come summer, it's probably gonna look horrible,
Yeah.
but,
Just tell them, more shoreline pics instead of,
okay.
a pic of the
Yeah.
horizon.
yeah.
Yeah, I think Christina stopped process back then with the center of the fingers of all the different portions of the lake. And then from different angles from every finger and lip. But we'll look at shorelines along those instead.
Unauthorized activities on the beach, just like I said, Jeremy, going into like stuff that we already talked about. I think early years from Patricia, so.
I haven't seen
No, it's
any
fine.
unauthorized people anymore.
I saw, someone fishing with their car parked on the road within the last week.
P8?
I call them out.
You call them
Along the park,
Yes, where the sand is.
Where the
at
beach is.
Yeah.
And
I
the car is
call- I
parked.
call-
where they removed
Yes.
pretty quickly.
Where do they park their car now that
Right,
the
right.
they just leave it on the
Yeah,
road?
you know, the
Oh, yeah.
curb is built out there and
Me
they.
and me and Hector that lives across the street from there, we call them.
Okay, good.
And it's been what's probably has worked.
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
just,
yeah.
they were newbies.
Are you
Yeah.
like the motion police?
Yeah. Pretty much. Hey,
You're home.
no one's
You're home.
walking, no fishing on my yard anymore.
Yeah.
But you do notice it on the other lake, when you're
On the-
driving by, all the time. All the
So
time.
you need to
They-
get better about calling.
That's just, it's just so exposed,
Mhm.
you know, they have more exposure than we do. And there's parking right there. So they
Along,
don't have a
along
problem.
P21.
Yeah, they don't have any problem part of it. It's ours.
Yeah, the signs are there and it's pretty quick, if they do get a call from a resident as far as enforcing and removing individuals. But I can't speak to that. I don't have anybody from either White Oak there or live right there along, Miami Lakeway. They can,
Right.
but on that end, it's the same thing. The only way to kind of curb it is to make it uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And once they get it, like you mentioned, once they get it, they don't come back. This is a new individual.
With your considerations, I guess we can. What's this stuff we had here?
On the future considerations, was there anything that that maybe Christina missed on putting and making a note, anything that we might have discussed that I should be looking into, even as we get into budget discussions in a little bit, but anything along those lines of things that we aren't doing that we wanted to look more into? I know aeration's been there for a while.
Correct.
I don't know, past time we worked on getting to the 24 services a year. And then we'll talk a little bit about the fish stocking soon.
I mean, pretty much we have everything that,
Yeah.
I mean, but. Like I said, things can come up, but it's something that probably could be removed from the agenda. I mean.
Okay.
I'd make a comment also. I think we've done a wonderful job and the lake is in wonderful condition. And we're gonna get to a point where you really don't need to look to do more things. You just want to keep things where they
Right.
are, right? And so a recognition that we've gotten to where we want to be, let's, whatever.
I mean, I'm not-
you call it, I'm gonna, neutral.
Well, I'm gonna give, I want one more summer, to be honest.
I agree.
Yeah,
I'm not there
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. But we're close.
Right, right. Games, you know, and hopefully this summer will prove it's better. With the changes that we made with Jeff, unfortunately, I just saw the email that said he's leaving and there's somebody else, which. is
Right when you get
rattling,
comfortable with somebody.
because I felt he was so knowledgeable, I just hope the next guy is, and my other concern is that we keep reiterating. This is working, let's maintain what he had recommended in that
Right.
formula
Mhm.
change. It's gonna be important that they don't, new guy come and start, you
Yeah,
know, doing whatever he wants, you know, so I think it's important that we communicate that.
I will send notice on that.
thank you, Jen. Yeah, that'll be great if you just,
No, just.
because I know that,
Yeah. Jeff's email kickback, he's moving to, I'm gonna confirm it, but to the Pompano branch.
Pop it out, he's saying.
Yeah, Looks like he'll be moving to the Pompano branch.
so, but he's staying.
Within the company, that's what I wanna confirm. I'm gonna reach out to him. And I wanna confirm with him if he hasn't, if he is gonna, separate from the company, please leave your game plan book
Yeah.
that you had and leave it with your.
Yeah, because he was,
Yeah.
they were doing stuff.
And he started adjusting the
as they were-
amounts.
Yeah.
As they were going, yeah.
Yeah, he was modifying the mixture there, whatever.
So the fish stocking and maintenance.
I think that's pretty much the same. The only thing I do have for fish stocking, maintenance is, it's being kept, they're on their 2-week cycles. Fish stocking, I did bring down their,
Haven't you guys?
I think we had deferred our fish stocking from November to the spring.
correct, so,
Right.
and the main reason also comes with that is we wanna go this time more around with strictly bass.
Yeah.
And bass, I just got the release date from them earlier in the week, the baths will be ready in June. Oh, you haven't heard? Perfect.
Okay, so we, just to clarify, because it's been a minute too, we have gotten no fish stocking.
No fish stocking yet. As of October of this past year. Till now, we have not getting stocking. It's gonna be, it was pushed in the last meeting to defer it from that November time
To the
to
spring.
the spring. And then now in the spring, I'm getting the dates on bath specific. The bath will be ready in June. The only thing is, they sent forward a proposal for an amount that was almost 2.5 times our budget. So they're just gonna resend me the quote now at our budgetary rate.
Okay.
So right now, we're expecting about 500 baths for what we budget, which is 1,500.
Largemouth bass.
Did I bring the bass quote? I'll confirm with
Is
this.
it 1,500 what? 1,500?
$1,500
Oh,
for 500 fish. Let me bring it up now. I want to say it was largemouth bass, but I don't want to see that term, revised fish stocking.
Have you ever heard of crappies? No, I'm serious. Crappies is a fish.
I am not. Does it go by a different, another name?
No, crappies. They're called crappies. It's good eating.
And
My-
for some reason, I don't
my-
post that.
No, my future father-in-law lives in Tennessee and he sent me a picture the other day. Look what I got in the lake, crappies.
Hmm.
He got a bucket full of crappies.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
I will confirm, because the quote does say that. I'm gonna have to confirm, the exact species, but it's listed as bass, and I wanna say that from the get-go with one of their, kind of their inventory of fish, this was back when I first started, so 1920. That's when I believe I saw it, and it was, I only saw large bass, and small bass was selected where you had to ask for it out of a la carte almost, but I'll confirm that.
What crappies look like?
Almost looks like a trout, the way it's speckled like that.
Mm,
It's in fresh water.
Yeah. It's called crappie.
You said they're good. Let's go to.
We talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about.
I have to get you guys a follow-up.
Thank you.
On the barriers, did I see a note? I'm also looking through these minutes for the first time now too, so. The note on the barriers, because you need to find out the time limit for the barriers from the building department. Bring me in on how the building department was involved in that.
Well, we got them involved because we said that we wanted to know most of the issues why people put the barriers up was for the algae.
Mhm.
There hasn't been algae in getting close to a year now. So how long you
Okay.
keep it up if there's no reason to keep it?
I have given this great thought, because they're my neighbors and know they could spend a lot of money.
I get that. But if there's no
My
need for it,
my thought was, if we get through the summer,
I think that they'll, yes, exactly.
that it will be an easy discussion to have.
Correct.
But your neighbors is not that bad. Compared to the yellow ones, feels like. It just, the yellow ones
Right.
become a nice order.
Yeah, I suppose, I would hope if some do it, the rest will follow.
We have no more issues, then the bloom isn't as bad. I don't see why. But we need to think
but-
forward if
yeah,
they don't, and
exactly.
people don't like the way it looks and they decide to keep it up.
I think we at least need to get the answer to understand, so then if that's what happens come summer or fall, whatever, then we're ready to.
So, yeah, to educate before we go ahead and put anything in there, but,
Do we still have a beautification committee?
with regards to,
We used to have back in the days, we used to have a beautification committee. They used to put notes in your doors, says your roof is too dirty.
That's supposed to be code enforcement,
You know, I did hear about it.
but I mean, you know what I mean? That's what code enforcement is
Yeah.
supposed to do.
well, just to keep us on track here, our goal is lake maintenance here.
Yeah,
Lake
I know,
maintenance.
I know, but it's part of lake maintenance, because if somebody puts a tag on your door, you need to remove those, barriers.
I'll check it within building and see what parameters they have to enact and enforce anything, and, because essentially it's a structure. Now, my question is just, indulge me, Sam, do you know if they pay someone to go and put those out there, or do they themselves actually establish these borders and these barriers?
In the bottom of the line, and they install
They
it
did,
themselves.
to my knowledge, the ones that I saw, they did it themselves.
Okay. That's just from my knowledge.
The test results we've been on that. Sam, did you want some more information on that?
Unless you have some special comments. Okay.
No, I just, Jeremy said he'll send you a copy.
I'll send you a copy and I'll see if this,
Sam is our judge. You need to have all that information.
I think Sam is your Sam, but I
agree.
I understand where you're going. I understand where you're going with it. No, so what I'll do is I have access to Christina's emails. I'll look through hers to make sure there's no other correspondence relating to the test result. If there's an explanation from Jeff, and I'll go ahead and I'll get that for you as well. But at the minimum, I'll send you tomorrow, I'll send you the results. Survey results, was there anything put down there?
Sure.
Yeah, the survey results hadn't changed from
Agree with that.
from December, yeah. So we put out a survey, kind of like a right track, wrong track. It's actually required annually. And we send it out in the mailers for residents to go ahead and let us know how you guys are doing, if they see the change in the lake, if there's something else they would want the board to consider. And it also asks some questions, how do you like to be informed of the meetings? Out of your guys' side, what is it, 72.5 property, the Lake Patricia, we had two.
Right.
Yeah.
Two respondents, and then one for Lake Hilda, which is 111
At least they were all positive.
111 properties.
Bathroom.
Oh yeah, all positive, no issues, nothing raised that is of worry. Okay, that new business, the aeration proposal, for my clarification, I see on these minutes proposal of 1,000 per year or quarterly at 250. What I have access to is the total proposal. Was this 1,000 per year or quarterly 250, what it would take for you guys
I think it
to
was-
save up?
I want to say it was what it was going to cost to maintain,
Okay,
but I don't know if we got anything. I don't have anything here on what the actual cost
Yeah, I think that
of
was,
the
right.
areas.
okay.
Yeah.
So the cost that was given, and I dated it back to December, was 27,900. 27,921
each.
for one, yeah, for each lake. This is Lake Hilda's.
Okay, but that's each aerator or?
No, that's the entire
whatever it
system.
needs.
That's the entire system for an entire lake, which includes. No, that was for the install. That's the installation of the unit. Now, this was in December. We had originally at one point asked back in. It was September, October, and the price had gone up a little bit. So I would say budgetary, if you want to consider it, probably put it around 30,000.
But that one was for Hilton, right?
This is Hilda.
And Lake Patricia's bigger.
So you're gonna be going up to probably close to 35, somewhere around there. This includes 4 compressors. First relief valve, large lake sound kit, sub-assembly, 10 air station bottom diffusers. And then all the air tubing necessary, all labor parts necessary for installation.
Can I ask, what kind of feedback, I wasn't here for that, but what kind of feedback did the group have to this subject?
I'm sorry.
No, Sam had asked a question, the feedback that was related to the aeration system. I want to say that Christina's initial discussion was that we were gonna hold off. And that's where I believe she had left it with me, but I don't know if that was the last conversation spoken in the December meeting.
But Patricia said she got something.
Yeah, we had a diagram of the aeration
Yes,
and it showed exactly
Where-
where they would go and underground and so forth. So we were asking right about how much they would cost, how much it would be maintained.
And this
Yeah,
was just
what-
one company, right? We haven't, Like, or is it just one?
Well, it's through.
It's
these guys.
it's through them and it's because they're already an awarded vendor. So this would be an additional service under there.
But also Jeff had said that, you know, of course, the top aeration fountain is really useless.
Mhm.
However, this was definitely more beneficial.
Correct, as far as function, this is gonna do the most for the lake, and that's been not just Jeff, I've spoken to other lake maintenance vendors. And they've established the same thing. Lake Martha has both, there are boiler diffusers along with their fountains. The fountains were more of an aesthetic. They do
Right, right.
move the water, they do help with some of the quality, but the majority is that bottom. Went ahead and added oxygen from there, moving it on upward.
It's like an aquarium. I remember I used to have an aquarium. And I used to have, like a bottom filter. And, I used to, aerate the bottom, so.
Is there anyone that we can contact that was it Martha? That deals with the lake, a resident that deals with.
I have the vendor and I check in every so often, it's
Have they
still,
noticed?
it's still too soon for them to give,
Yeah, that's
Inclusive
what-
data.
It would be rough to spend $35,000. It's not gonna really make, I mean, the lake's looking beautiful right now.
Can I add that
yeah.
if at the end of the summertime, we're really happy with what the lake
I
looks
agree.
like. Doing this
No,
doesn't make any sense.
And that's
at
where
all.
that's where I might have understood, and it might have just been early discussions, kind of, administratively, that with the progress of the lake taking this place, that right now, Christina kind of said that there may not be a huge need for it.
Right.
It'd be the $35,000 expenditure, which would raise assessment rates for the homeowners, because right now, I think, Hilda's carrying 16,000 and Patricia's carrying 10,000, in reserves only.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm loving the way it's, I hope that we can ever look that way.
But just as a point of reference with the aeration system, I do call every now and then the lake maintenance vendor, to request any, and I also know the HOA president, so I speak with him and
Awesome.
actually owe him a call, so I can ask him how he feels it's doing so far.
Can we formalize either through the minutes or some other way that this item should be shelved until the summer months and the algae season is over?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's after.
Yeah, I
this
mean,
one, we're done.
I think we just, wanted to know
Right.
what it,
We wanted to see what we
what, you know, was it 100,000 or?
And it can be,
10,000?
and it can be brought up at any time for, at the time of creating an agenda for an upcoming meeting. Any member can request this be added to the agenda.
Now, in that other lake that you were talking about, do they have carps in there? Carp is a
Yeah,
fish that,
I haven't, I've never been in lake or seen really the shoreline of Lake Martha, more than from the 3 parks that we have that are not really beach parks. So I can ask, I have a few friends that live in there.
because I've always said that carps will maintain the lake for you. Carps eat vegetation, they're bottom feeders.
Do you have a few in Lake Patricia?
No, we don't have any.
There is indeed one.
A carp?
And I told this from the.
I've never seen it.
meeting. I call him Moby Dick. He's white and he's this long.
I sent Sam the picture. Was that him in there?
I didn't think so.
No.
I couldn't see much.
He was
but I
definitely
have
not a
video.
bass.
I took a video
But I think
maybe
that-
a month ago.
That's just a koi.
Well, I saw
That's what
that
a
white.
koi
koi.
is.
A white koi.
A koi is a carp. Koi is Japanese for a carp.
Oh, well, I've seen them,
No, there's-
because I'm on the
That's
paddleboard
right.
and it's like this
Yes.
and white, and then there's a bunch more though.
No,
There's a bunch.
no,
haven't
a
seen
lot.
this.
listen, if you come at
A
7 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
I'm inviting you to come at 7 o'clock.
He does aquarium.
No, he does, he's got his own, I have seen they're huge, and there's a bunch, there's not just.
Yeah.
There
I mean,
with us. That's him.
Or is that a-
Yeah, this is-
Never seen a
You know what that is though?
That looks like a largemouth bass.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
sure. I'm not.
No, it's the kois. There was once, I was right by Rudy's house.
Mhm.
I was shocked, because I was up on the paddleboard, I
How
could
many?
see right down, yeah. There must have been like 7 or something, just going around. and-
Here's a picture of 4 of them at my house.
Look at the coins.
But,
Oh, yeah.
They come feed.
There's that albino, one albino one,
yeah. Moby
Yeah.
Dick.
yeah. I've never seen albino.
They come by.
But going back to the new business item, so are you saying to think about in the future, stocking with carp to see if there's a benefit for it?
To see if there's a benefit
Yeah.
for
I think we might have back in
We have.
19 or
it.
20.
We did ask them, but then there's, you have to pull a permit. You need certain amount of carbs for the square footage of the lake.
I can make it if you want, and I think that the direction was for me to check with Lake Martha to see if they have it.
To see if they have it and see how if their lake is performing. But they also have the aerator and the fountain, right?
Yeah, I think that was installed middle of last year, more or less.
Oh, okay. So we're not even at a year then.
No,
Yeah. But they also didn't have the extent of the problem that we had either, right?
they
Or was it? I don't know.
they had some rough summers. They had some rough summers.
Summer's coming.
Mm.
Summer's coming.
Unfortunately.
The new business on equality chairman update, I don't know, I guess.
So, Marcelino, did you attend the quarterly chair on the 13th?
I thought I am.
Yeah, we spoke about it
Yeah.
already. I
You
guess.
guys already
We
mentioned.
just paid on the, yeah, just did, that's fine.
Then the only thing I have update for you is it was approved today is the next quarterly meeting is April 20th. So by deferring the meeting, essentially, you will be the chair for that quarterly meeting.
So if I'm on duty.
None of it.
No,
We have a choice about the time.
On the quarterly chair meeting, it's just the chairs and it's called for all chairs of all committees. At that point, it's time to talk about anything committee related, if there's anything, kind of not working with the structure, the way we handle the meetings, you can go ahead and discuss it there. 7C. I have been in contact with 2 local vendors, that handle iguana. Geese has been the hardest to find, but definitely iguana and Muscovy duck. And that's the keyword, humane removal. Both of them have responded that they're interested. One of them wants to meet with me tomorrow on site, so I'll meet with them tomorrow. And then I will await their quotes. Some of the preliminary, fiscal amounts I've seen is a bare minimum fee. It can range from $500 to $1,000, and then a per, that's just for them to come out, and then a per captured animal fee as well.
Mm.
So I'm waiting to hear back their model. This is just what I've seen in the market.
Are any of them from Broward or Palm Beach counties?
One of them is from Broward.
My recollection is that when we tried this years ago, it was from North, and I don't recall if it was.
The third vendor was from Pompano area and wasn't responding, and I want to say that I don't think they're looking to come that far down south.
Yeah, my recollection also was that they would take them and relocate them. They have a license to do that. And that was acceptable to most people.
So both the companies that had our license and insured.
That's
But
good, people would, yeah. definitely.
They, I looked through their sign, I looked through some of the communications, their main, they do a lot of private, and residential, but they also do have a few HOA accounts and they service monthly. Once it kind of subsides, they'll come back quarterly if necessary.
I thought with the Muscovy, you weren't allowed to relocate. Wasn't that what we learned before?
And that's, I'll confirm it, but I'm pretty sure in my reading, it wasn't, it's the humane removal of it, removal.
And I believe there's a licensing
Mm-hmm.
aspect. to it.
Correct, and I think there was 30 in Broward and 10 in Miami-Dade that were licensed. But that might have been an article I read back from 2015.
I just, I'm,
And then just, I know we had briefly discussed this before I moved positions, but the goal here is the zero, we're looking at a zero tolerance of having Muscovy ducks at all of the lakes? Or was there a boom of,
Listen, just today in the Miami Herald, there's another article about some slithery thing that's growing in the Everglades like crazy that is going to consume everything. So it is non-native species that should be removed.
Okay.
In my opinion.
So we need to remove the peacock badge.
That, they were brought here illegally in South America. Yeah,
The thing with the ducks are one thing, definitely a problem. I can tell you exactly where they are around my house. They go from the person across the street from me who feeds them,
Oh, yeah,
tramp right through and leave everything on my driveway, and then they go right to the back.
Oh,
So,
we gotta drive on that street. At
Yeah.
What time is that?
yeah, I'm telling you. Right, so,
it's,
but my bigger concern, aside from the ducks, I have watched, because I lived in Celebration Point for like 20 years, on a canal where it opens to the lake. And I watched those things start and proliferate over 15 years and just take over. And all these years I've been over here, you know, I never saw them until the last now several years, but they're gonna do the same thing. They
Right.
reproduce like rabbits. And it's gonna be a problem.
I did read an article the other day that panther urine I'm s-
Deterrent.
is a deterrent, because panther feeds
Like-
on ducks and stuff and geese. So if you put panther urine around your shoreline,
Who's collecting this panther urine? I wanna know.
no, they sell it online,
Yeah,
they sell it online,
That's extinct.
panther urine.
No, but I'll get back to you once I get some figures, and like I said, there's one vendor that wants to come out and see the areas already.
Yeah.
And then my question, just so I have a little more understanding is, do you want them to focus on the communal area, i.e. P8 for Lake Patricia, the one real only open public area? Or are we gonna want to have them be removed along shorelines?
Well,
everywhere,
Yeah, all
Patrice's
of it.
house is really like
Yeah.
ground zero.
everywhere,
yeah, they.
anywhere.
I mean, anybody, I have a lot, they just come right down every day,
Our house,
straight
They
to-
go around.
they just go straight through both sides all day long.
Okay.
And I think it's because this guy's feeding them across the way, so that makes sense to them, right, to do this.
So I'll put the hard thing is when it comes to private property, obviously, we're gonna have to give notice to anyone. That, let's say you have 3 ducklings that make it, or 3 ducks that make it across into your front porch, and they're gonna go get them. I don't want to put the vendor in any issues either.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing to consider. We're gonna have to put good notice that if we get to that, we're gonna have to find a way to get great notice out to all of the residents.
Also, just for your information, she didn't speak much about the Egyptian geese. There are a male and female that now swim around with at least 11 offspring who are getting pretty big, you know.
Yeah.
And they'll produce another.
The other ones are just a dozen every time.
Yeah, I didn't see, I didn't find it common when I found, through a lot of these trappers, critter control, all these different vendors, the geese wasn't common up there. The main focal points for these companies were iguanas, Muscovy ducks, snakes, and raccoons.
I would say Egyptian geese are in the early stages. It's maybe 5 years in
Yeah.
development, but that's exactly how the Muscovies began.
The geese are much more aggressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a family of them,
Oh, yeah.
there's
Yeah, we do.
a male, and there's like 15 or 20, and then they're good families, so they stick together a lot.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
And I can tell you where I see anyway, the iguanas. You know, that kind of peninsula. It's this side of you and this, when I'm looking at that peninsula, it goes out and around, they're there and
Was the new
also.
house is being built?
On
two-story?
this on the other side, on the east side
Okay,
of that. There, but also directly across at Jim's house, where all the grass is. There's some kind of like old piece of, maybe a wood or a dock or something. So I was paddling by there the other day, and there's like 3 or 4 of them just sitting up there sunning.
Oh, the iguanas?
They sit
Yeah, I
in the
saw that.
sun, they sit in the sun up there. Sometimes they come, you know, through my yard. But,
Welcome to the mango. That's mango. but-
Yes.
Yeah, Jimmy, if you can just find out what's going on.
yeah, I'm gonna take a look at that and see, and I'll talk to him about. I'll have to find a way to, Sam, on that. I think one of the things I'll talk to them about is how they can identify themselves the best. So if we do have to get to that, i.e. to wear a very bright colored shirt, hey, you see the gentleman walking through your property, he's working for this vendor.
Yeah.
But we'll tackle that when we get there. Budget, so we are getting into budget, budgets are gonna be due at the beginning of summer for our NSDs. That's kind of why I talked about some of these things that were kept on here, because I wanted to make sure there was nothing, as we get ready to plan for this upcoming year's budget, there was nothing I should be already bringing the option for. With that, what you guys have in front of you is the current, most up-to-date budget that already reflects this year's past carry forward. And what I'm looking to see if there's anything in general, the only one change I can tell you that I know for sure is on the legal notices to residents, I just have to adjust that. It's now 60 cents per mail, not 58 cents. So 2 cents for everything we mail, I'll make that slight adjustment. Other than that, I don't see much of a change on our end. Our contract's still in place at the same amounts for 24 services. The only thing just to note is at this point, we do carry $10,000 in one account and then another 16,900 in the other. The only minimum to maintain there is 10% of the operating costs. So there's roughly $9,000 in one account and then another on mine. And then another 15 and change. Yeah, Lake Hilda has a 15 and change left in reserves that is not being touched. And then another 8 and change in Patricia. So there's a few ways that we don't plan on doing anything immediate. We can release that and give it back as a one-time disbursement or one-time assessment reduction. Just know that when you do that, you kind of set the level of service at, you're lowering it essentially. The other option is to keep it and we can gauge this summer, especially if we're still considering maybe aeration, if summer doesn't change anything, and we kind of still see the same problems, I'll continue to bankroll that for eventually funding the aeration system.
I agree on that one.
I would like to envelop that in with the evaluation of the lake after the summer. If
Okay.
it shows that we're doing great, hey, our job worked, and here's your money back.
But wouldn't that money be used possibly for the iguanas or the geese?
It could be, it could be. And remember, this budget is submitted going into summer.
I have a question.
You can always, at another meeting, we can go ahead and request a line item transfer. It'll just go before council for approval.
In the summer, if we need to up the blue dye, is that gonna cost us anything?
Well, right now they're putting the max amount per visit. Now, the question is, do you need frequencies? Yes, if we increase frequency of visit and servicing,
No, I
the
meant,
amount per service is already up there.
yeah,
Any more, and you're pretty much gonna start looking like the other lake where it's.
like the Caribbean.
Like a toilet
Yeah,
bowl.
the toilet bowl.
The Caribbean doesn't look like a toilet bowl.
But this will.
Smaller, but the Caribbean's a little bigger. This is closer to toilet bowl size. But no, is there anything else budgetary? Just taking a quick look at it. I mean, our budget's been pretty stable for the most part over the past few years. So I don't forecast any changes unless there's anything you need me to evaluate for you.
I mean, we still have till when summer.
So no, so we need to finalize going into June. So at our May meeting is when we would have to have finalized this budget. That's why I'm asking for it now, so I have time to put together anything you would like to see for an approval in May for the budget.
When would our next meeting be for this?
I would anticipate the last week of May
So we-
That's
we
Memorial
get-
Weekend.
so we-
or the third weekend.
So we get one in before.
We would get a meeting before that.
I'd like to hopefully have more people.
Yeah, so that's why I put first review. This is just so we can already start thinking of things and I can still make any changes if it comes up on the fly. And then the goal is, like I said, by June, we're submitting already to finance the proposed budget. And budget, and that's only because budget also has, our NSD non-ad valorem, assessment. Has a different timetable than our general fund budget.
So your real space.
Well, I'm just trying to think of things, hurricane season is coming up, and one of the things that happens in hurricane season is that people's furniture, boats, their play, toys go out in the lake and get blown into other people's property, and maybe they never get picked up. There's a way to,
I think I put that on our mailers once, on the little brochure I put together. It said at the beginning
Yeah, that's true.
of the season, go ahead and mark
Oh,
your
right,
property
yeah.
name and address.
Right.
I still have a floating dock. That
Yeah.
Like, uh,
still have it. Nobody has claimed it.
Leave it there on my beach 5 years.
What?
A
The canoe?
canoe, a nice aluminum canoe. Everybody's watching, I got your canoe.
And he's keeping it clean too. He's
Yeah.
keeping it clean.
I'm exercising.
I don't think there's a budgetary need for providing for that removal.
No,
remember when I first moved in, there was 2 sailboat hulls that literally, it was interesting, you could tell what the cycle of the water was, because it would just go around, a couple days later, it was here, go around, and it's all submerged, but yet, floating.
Yeah.
Go around, hold this to me, go around, go around. Finally, I got so tired of looking at it, I said, I'm pulling these out myself. I pulled 2 of them out, just got them in the dumpster somehow. Because it was just, I'm thinking, obviously nobody owns it.
all right. And obviously it goes without saying, if anything comes up, you can directly email me for the time being. We are finalizing the candidates for Christina's position and hope to have it probably by the next meeting. No other questions, comments, or concerns along, item, what is that, 7D?
7D.
I have a good amount of homework here. Sam, you'll hear from me shortly.
Okay. Always fun.
You said you're meeting with them tomorrow, the people.
Yes, they'll be giving me a call when they're en route. At worst case scenario, they'll still have their assessment if I'm tied up in. But I asked them to do it later in the afternoon where I'm a little more free.
So you'll let us know when the next meeting will be?
Yes. We can put a tentative date, or I can ask the entire group via email. That way, everybody has a chance to pick a date. Are there any known dates that we know here that we will be out of town in May?
Memorial
Well,
weekend.
it's Memorial Weekend is the 27th and 28th, and Monday, of course, the 29th. So,
So not the 26th or the 29th?
And I don't know if anybody is, I know Patrice, you were runs on something, but is there a way to make it 6:30 or 6?
I would prefer it.
If that's, I know Patrice.
yeah. Today I just happened to be running late, but, that's fine, because then
We did, but this.
we had some, no, that's fine, I can do that.
6:30?
I can do that. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. I hear a motion on the floor to adjourn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just putting next meeting, 6:30.
Sam's still.
I have another thought
Oh.
that I'm thinking about that would be nice. It could communicate to the public in a nice way if we had a rating scale. We looked at the lake and on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, we graded it 10. And time goes on, it's on 6 now, something like that. If we could.
Well, that's what the survey is
Not
doing,
that the
but
survey-
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
what, word of mouth is getting around. I've
Yeah.
heard people talking about how
Yeah.
big Patricia's been. I mean, Jeremy there's Peterman's been telling me, he's like, I don't know what you guys are doing over there, but people are talking.
That's good. Okay.
So it's definitely,
I know also Hector across the street has seen it from his vantage point, because he mentioned to me, he can notice it immediately, he lives across, so.
no, we're getting definitely good feedback from even other residents from other lakes that are.
Yeah.
didn't spend money on aerators.
Right.
Hopefully we won't have to.
You're doing good. I'll give you a 10, I'll give you the 11.
I'm coming back next meeting with a gold star sticker, and I'm gonna bring my gold star sticker.
I think you get back to focusing on basketball.
All right, so I have a motion, I have a motion on the floor.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I,
Seeing none opposed, this motion, meeting has ended at 8:10 P.M. Thank you all.
Happy Easter.
Happy
Oh,
Easter.
yeah.
Easter already.